I'd like to welcome next to the stage Hayden Montgomery. Hayden serves as the Agricultural Program Director at the Global Methane Hub, working to reduce methane emissions in agriculture. What some people actually don't know is previously he represented the Global Research Alliance on Agricultural Greenhouse Gases, promoting the international research for mitigation solutions, and actually from 2013 to 2016, Hayden served as New Zealand's ambassador to Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, strengthening their diplomatic and agricultural ties. So please help me welcome Hayden Montgomery.
5 minutes, let's go. Great to be back this year. Last year, to be honest, I was, it's a bit blurry, I was not very well. This year is great, I can take advantage of this meeting, and it's a fabulous audience, and it's been, wonderful discussions so far, and much more to come. First about the Global Methane Hub. I've been in this field for about 20 years, but the hub is new. We are 3 years old now, and we're a philanthropic re-granter. We were set up when the Global Methane Pledge was signed at the Glasgow Climate Conference, and philanthropy mobilised very quickly to be supportive of countries, companies, other actors' efforts to reduce methane from all sources, all anthropogenic sources, as quickly as we could, and all of the necessary supportive actions that need to be in place for that to happen. So I, about 3 years ago, joined the hub and took on the agriculture program. So we work globally on all agricultural sources of methane, particularly enteric methane, rice cultivation and manure. There's also methane created from the burning of biomass, as you probably all know, but it's a lesser focus of our program given the global magnitude of that source versus the others. The focus we take in the program, and then I'll pivot to the accelerator specifically, our program is really aimed at being catalytic across all of the different areas of grant making that would see success in reducing emissions. So we have a very strong effort on research and innovation, which I'll speak to. We also want to make relevant to the methane mitigation agenda things that are not new in agricultural development and research, things like improving animal health and feeding, grazing management, animal husbandry, etc., that are not often connected explicitly to the methane agenda. And it's our view, at least, that the reality is where we need to enhance yields, raise productivity in many of the different regions of the world, we will need to do that first before we would contemplate an additive or a technology that we're talking about at this conference mostly. And I think the last discussions yesterday showed that very clearly. So we have a very overt, significant part of our program focusing on yield improving, productivity gaining, loss reducing interventions, primarily focused in the developing world where we can use our resources with more impact and where they're really, really needed. We also have a very acute awareness of the challenges relating to quantification of methane, in particular from agriculture, and we make a lot of grants to support improved quantification, right from measuring emissions on the animal, and I want to just mention one activity we're supporting, which is the wearable device for ruminants that ZALPA is leading for us, and that was our analysis of the field to say there is no current effort on a wearable that would be reliable for grazing systems to monitor methane in real time and continuously, and so we made a grant to support that technology, and hopefully it'll be useful to many of you in the coming months. But beyond the measurement of emissions on the animal, primarily at least in the short term for research purposes and hopefully for validation, we also know that there's a huge data need out there to support public policy and corporate action, and we've heard that this morning in the finance sector as well. Amable mentioned yesterday the countries are starting to develop and articulate plans to reduce methane, if not explicit targets, at least practices and interventions that are relevant to methane reduction. But we know that the data to underpin the tracking of progress towards those goals is severely lacking, major problem. So we are going to put a lot of effort into that in the next 3 years to really speed up the progress and improving the granularity and the representative nature of the emissions calculations for countries and for companies, and that would all be public domain. Then, of course, the corporate sector, we've heard a lot of companies here and present and also presenting, and we are trying to be supportive of companies to be ambitious and have the confidence to step out there and take on goals and targets and have plans in place. And we try to kind of collaborate and be catalytic in that sense as well. And when there is ambition and effort, we hope we can help direct it a little bit and support it and have it be as impactful as possible. And then sort of in the finance and investment space as well, right from bonds and development finance, climate finance, helping improve the efficacy of that for methane. And primarily, I'm talking again about improved animal husbandry, right? It's not about widgets necessarily, it's about getting the large finance going into developing countries, contemplating the relevance of those operations for methane. And it may be subtle changes, but it could have a significant impact over many years when it comes to reducing emissions intensity, right? So having said that, just to now quickly focus, I've got 2 minutes, on the accelerator. When we set up the program, we knew that there was a great need for innovation, and we knew we couldn't fund it from our program budget, but we wanted to be catalytic. So we set up to establish the enteric fermentation R&D accelerator, and we had very quick and strong support from philanthropy, which we're very grateful for. But we also have public and private funding alongside us with the Government of Ireland and Danone as our first and currently only public and private funders. So just to kind of piggyback on what Ruth mentioned, the difference we are to AgriZero is we are global and we are more catalyst than venture. We're not venture, but we are all about catalyst and in the public good. And we, I would say, are the first global public-private philanthropic partnership exclusively focused on advancing solutions in enteric methane. And I don't need to speak to the detail of the research because hopefully you've seen the logo through yesterday and more today, hopefully, how we are trying to be supportive of progress across microbiome, vaccine, genetics, physiology coming later, feed additives, discovery, measurement. There's probably one I'm forgetting, forages. And so it's really great to see a year after mentioning this initiative last time, how much is happening in the world, and to be able to be supportive of that and enable all of you and others to make more progress is really very satisfying. And the collaborative nature as well as, there are lots of efforts out there. So with AgriZero, with CRC, which you'll hear about soon, with Greener Cattle, we're there too, talking, in some cases participating alongside them as members of the steering group. You don't need to say what happens because I'm there too and I'm part of those discussions. But yeah, delighted to be here and looking forward to the questions. Thank you.